everybody. Welcome back to the House of L. This is our episode for the Smallville Season 3 finale episode, Covenant. I am Derek, and I'm joined today by my good friend, Craig Byrne of Kryptonsite. How are you, buddy?
Hello. Good to see you again. Haven't seen you since October.
I know.
September.
We talk regularly, but
actually. Yeah, September when we hosted.
I know. Well, it was funny, we hosted, Salute to Smallville, and then so year one was in October, and then year two, we didn't have to wait as long. It was in September. That was kind of nice, but now year three is November, so it's even further away, it feels like. But we've got a busy year because not only is that coming up, but also this is the 25th anniversary of Smallville in 2026, which is incredible to think about.
Yeah, I cannot fathom it. I mean, I remember 25 years ago hanging out in the gym of where I lived because I could see the mail carrier coming to see if my Smallville script had come. Because you couldn't send the PDF back then.
No,
I just wanted my spoilers. I want to know what was happening.
And I guess serendipitously, but also Netflix around the world, except for the United States, is going to begin streaming the series on January 13th. So just a few days at the time of this recording, a few days from now, which is great. So Canada, Australia, the UK, Ireland, France, Italy, Austria, all getting Smallville. I don't know. And a lot of those places, it was already on Prime, Amazon Prime. So I don't know if it's leaving Amazon Prime, I would assume, and going to Netflix around the world. And then also, I think in Australia, it's on HBO Max there. So
I wish it was on HBO Max here.
I do too. The fact that, Tim and I were talking about this the other day, the fact that we had the DC app, back during the pandemic, and we had literally everything at our fingertips. We had, except Smallville, but we had the Superboy series, we had Lois and Clark, we had George Reeves, we had Birds of Prey, we had all those incredible things, and then they were like, we're shuttering this, and that's when the first iteration of HBO Max happened, and none of that made it to HBO Max. Eventually, Lois and Clark did, but we still don't have George Reeves or series or any of the other stuff on there. And I've seen just the other day that a bunch of stuff, a bunch of DC stuff is leaving HBO Max.
Well, also on HBO Max, Lois and Clark, they replaced a lot of music, and it's kind of bad.
Right. Well, I think it's gone, isn't it? Or did they add it back on there? Because when the DVD came out, when the Blu-ray came out, they dropped it altogether.
Right. Yeah.
From HBO Max.
And I think you can also see Lois and Clark and maybe Krypton on like Pluto TV or Tubi or one of those.
Okay. Krypton, I did see it pop up on something the other day. Maybe it was Tubi. I can't remember. My kingdom, this all sounded so great a decade ago. And now I'm just give me my cable lineup back. Give me my 32 channels that I had growing up with, and I'd be perfectly happy.
Well, this is relevant to the Smallville episode Covenant. I just remember having a good 22 episode season leading up to something like this, and then wondering all summer what would happen next, but only having to wait 4 months was incredible.
Yeah, thank God we're not Stranger Things fans having to wait 2 years before a season and then end up with a series finale where everybody's looking up and a planet's about to come crashing into the planet. I feel like I've seen that before. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, it's like all the CW shows ending in heaven somehow, if you think about it.
It's the eternal crossover of VIP, so now they can all be in one place. Yeah, it's like Lego Dimensions. You can play with everything in the same
even for the superhero type stuff we have now, like, The Boys and Gen V and that sort of thing. It's sometimes years between seasons.
Absolutely. I mean, when we've got pandemics and strikes back to back, we just don't have that legacy television, as it were, anymore. Even the shows that are on, most of them aren't 22 episode seasons. Some of them are, but not
And
all.
I know sometimes people would complain about, filler, but those gave us opportunities to know the characters more and spend more time with them.
Absolutely.
Except for something like Ageless, which was
as we always say on this show, filler doesn't mean noir. There's plenty of good filler episodes as well. This one, however, that we're talking about today, not a filler episode. One of my favorite season finales of the series. We are talking Covenant, teleplay by Al Goff and Miles Miller, story by Todd Slavkin and Darren Swimmer, and directed by Greg Beeman. This aired May 19th, 2004, nearly 22 years ago. Insane to think about, and every time we talk about this being the 25th anniversary, you'll, at least in me, you'll see a little bit more gray appear in my beard.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I feel so old. I feel,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It is. And then watching this back, first of all, watching this in HD, which I don't think I've done since the Blu-ray came out. I've not revisited some of the earlier seasons, and so watching this one in high definition was weird because I was like, this is a lot more stuff, just visual. Also, forgot just a ton of stuff in this one for it to be one of my, I don't know, maybe top 3 season finales. I
Yeah.
completely forgot that it gets a little incestuous between quote unquote air quote Kara and air quote Kara, that's what we'll call her, and fake Kara, as you call her, and Clark,
Well,
Lindsay, as we get her name eventually.
it's interesting watching it now and noticing how many, like, really cool visual effects are involved,
Mm-hmm.
and they're simpler. We don't
Oh, way
need,
simpler.
like, Disney Doctor Who stuff going on.
No,
You know,
no.
we can have our, I mean, and some of the effects are a little cheesy, but for the most part, it looks good. I mean, they had cars flipping
I
and
mean, yeah, and that was,
yeah, that's
practical.
practical,
The
yeah.
the disappearing car was very much not
Yeah.
with the FBI agent
RIP that guy.
inside. Yeah, with Loader, Frank Loader, FBI.
Played by Gary Hudson, who was in the Dukes of Hazzard reunion with John Schneider.
I will take your word for it because I don't
He was
remember
Mama
that at
Max's
all.
right-hand man.
Oh my god. I haven't seen that in 20 since it came out on DVD. Whenever those released on the DVD, that's the last time I've watched that. So
We're
that's
all old.
taxing my brain. Yes, again,
Yeah.
it's gonna be an old timers episode on this one, folks, from the two people who have been covering Smallville the longest.
And now we're older than Bo and Luke.
So get this. So Graham was home for Christmas, and
Mhm.
we've been saying for years that we were going to go through all our old like tapes and find all the House of L like commercials and bits and everything we
Mhm.
filmed because back in the day we just had a camera running at all
Right.
times. And but the one thing we never did, and you know this, the Schneider interview, which was the first time we ever interviewed anybody from the show, not long after maybe a year after we started or so, we got the audio, but we lost the tapes and we never released the video. So over Christmas break, we found the tapes, which is insane. So then we had to find a way to play the tapes because, they're all on
Yeah.
mini
Yep.
DV and we don't have that kind of technology anymore. But anyway, I found my old camera and we got it hooked up and we watched through a bunch of stuff and that was crazy. But we were commenting on how young Schneider looked
Oh, yeah.
in the footage. I think Jason Bolton texted because I was just sharing clips in the shoe text chain,
Yeah.
and he was like, "He looks younger than me." And I was thinking 2006 we did the interview, and then I did the math. I was like, "Holy hell, he was 46
Ye
when we did this." And like
Yep.
I'm 40 now. Like it
Well,
blew my mind.
when I was watching Covenant, I was like, "Damn, John Glover looks young."
Right?
And then I realized he was only, like, 55 there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to yeah, yeah. I know. Well, obviously Tom is older than
There was.
John or Annette were in the first few seasons. And yeah, that's so, and just about the same for me. If he was 46 in '06, yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
we don't
take a
need to go
nap.
there.
Well, yeah, I've already pulled
We're
too far
old,
at
we
that
need
sweater.
naps.
Yeah, and so now I'm gonna go take a nap after this. Covenant. What do
Yes.
you remember May 19th, 2004? Because I wanna quiz you on some things that Tim and I were talking about last night because I was this is pre-shoe, but
Yeah.
this is like prime Derek on Kryptonsite
Yeah.
24/7. I mean, you and I talking back and forth like that kind of stuff. I lurked the message boards. I never was really active there, but I have a lot of memories from the spoilers page and stuff around this time period.
Well, the thing I remember most about the week leading up, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead in the episode,
No, no, you're
but
good.
somebody had emailed me like 2 weeks before the finale telling me all of the finale cliffhangers, and I did not post it, but I
Good for
kinda knew
you.
what to expect.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, not that I was trying to be a gatekeeper or anything, but I don't wanna ruin the show.
No, not at all.
But
But I do remember, I
so
mean, you would
he
toe the line,
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
day a good bit.
Yeah, and some of the stuff I got away with posting sometimes, I'm shocked at now, like,
Yeah, I am
Chloe's
too.
gonna find the secret in Pariah, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I'm like, "How did I do that?" But, no, but in this particular case, that happened, but also you gotta keep in mind, this was what, 2004? Yeah.
Mhm. May of '04.
So, what younger listeners might not remember is people didn't text message as much back then as they do now,
If at
but
all, yeah.
I was visiting the East Coast, and I watched the finale there, and then I had to drive about 2 hours to my mom's place after the episode, and my phone was blowing up, "Is Chloe dead? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah," and it was so funny because, like, I just nobody texted back then, but everybody had to know what was up, and I remember that summer afterwards, Allison Eve was even at Comic-Con, and she claimed that Chloe was dead, and we're like, "Yeah, right," and then
Yeah.
I just remember asking Kristen about Jason Teague because we had just found out about him at a press room in Comic-Con, and Allison says something like, "Oh, well," actually, I think it must have been Erica I was asking because Kristen wasn't there. Oops. But anyway, Allison goes, "Oh, and Jensen is so hot." And I'm like, "How would you know if you're not on the show anymore?"
How are you aware of this?
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, well, Kristen told me."
Nah.
"Sure, Jan."
So my memory of this time period, especially after this episode aired, maybe the night this episode aired, why I
Uh-huh.
remember this stuff is beyond me. I remember the banner of Kryptonsite was everybody in the cliffhanger, like the last shot of everybody
Oh, after the episode aired.
after the episode aired. So it's
Okay.
it's Lionel, right before he says thank you after he's been shaved. Oh, we got to talk about that phenomenal scene. It's Chloe walking into the safe house, Martha looking out over the Crusade emblem and although we don't know it's the Crusade emblem yet, but the Kryptonian symbol in the field, and Jonathan being I guess strangled by Jor-El in the cave.
Do
It's
I need to
crazy to think about
find
that.
that image for you?
No, well, so here I found it. I
Oh, wow.
remembered it, and what I wanted to see if I was right because sometimes, especially with this
Yeah.
show, I'm like very confident that this happened, and then I go back and look, and it's like a version of that, but slightly different. But here's what's funny: is I pulled it up,
Huh?
and the June of 2004 is when Dukes of Hazzard season 1 released on DVD. So
Oh, so there's an ad for it right underneath it?
right about this same time period
Okay.
is for what we were talking about a minute ago. But I kept trying to find, I try to use the Wayback Machine a lot
Yeah.
for not only for Krypton site, but for the old shoe site that we lost as well. It's always hard to try to get it to the specific moment you need it at. So I was
Yeah.
trying to find Covenant spoilers, and I keep coming back to I keep getting season 4 upcoming spoilers. Not
Oh,
pre we had episode titles, but post everything for Covenant and Beyond had already
right.
been wiped off. So um, but this became so much. This episode really, I mean, obviously, this is the turning of the tide. You've got Erica coming into season 4, which I've always said just changes the show radically in the best way possible, but also, keeps the heart of it that we loved for the first 3 seasons. But I feel like this is also kind of the turning of the tide because so many things were supposed to happen here as a
Yeah.
result of Covenant that didn't come to fruition.
The
And
seer.
the seer, thank you.
Yes!
Nobody remembers the seer, you and me. So the seer and obviously Virgil Swan being way more
Yeah.
intertwined and ultimately not happening with Christopher Reeve's failing health and death ultimately, which is why we got Margot Kidder in season 4. But I just felt like in going back and reading some of this, and I pulled out the official companion last night as well and was just flipping through author the Craig Byrne. This could have changed the show drastically
Oh, yeah.
had things happened like we were wondering. I mean, I know some people on this side of the TV were very much like, is Chloe gone? Like you were just talking about, is Kristen coming back? Is Jonathan dead?
Yeah.
Because so many people were left in limbo. And first season that we don't have a to be continued
I didn't remember
at the end
that.
of the episode. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
always
it just
really
ended with
weirded
him in that, S shape
that I
inside
thought was the
the
Phantom Zone.
diamond.
I was convinced that was the Phantom Zone. You
You
could
were
not
2
have told
years too
me otherwise.
early.
I know, right? You could not have convinced me at the time because I was telling everybody. I was like, it's the Phantom. Like Tucker agreed, and we were all because it looked like he was stuck inside a prism, and then it floats
Yeah.
off into a vast smoky haze, and I was like, okay, well, he's
Well,
somewhere in the Phantom Zone.
I always considered this I would have thought this was the midpoint of the series if I had known any better,
Sure,
because this is when Clark and Lex finally, really fracture.
the rift has happened. I
Yeah.
so remember that scene of him, Lionel gifting him the key and him going into the
Yeah.
room and all of
I
that.
I love that Lex left the lights on all this time in
Sure,
the room.
leaves the screen going.
It had pictures of the Kents and Clark and
That's just where he reads the paper every morning inside that
yeah.
room. It's his go-to. Okay, so the seer. So let's talk. I know we're like talking about season 4, but it all plays into kind of what transpires in this episode. And what you're left with is, yes, as we just said, the episode revolves around Lionel being incarcerated for the death, for the murder of his parents, which they've finally been able to prove happened. Chloe had him on a voicemail back in Truth several episodes earlier when she had the power to, persuade people to tell the truth as a meteor freak. Then you've also got this Kryptonian girl coming to the Kent farm claiming to be Clark's cousin Kara, who we all recognize as a character, but ultimately is just a ploy by Jor-El, who used the life of or the body of a dead girl that died in the meteor shower 16 years earlier to pretend to be Kara to lull Clark to the caves for his Kryptonian transformation that Jonathan was supposed to do, but didn't do as a result of the promise made in Exile on Phoenix earlier this season.
You might have seen it in the spoilers page or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we first heard we were going to get Supergirl in that season 3 finale, I was shocked. I was like, that's pretty awesome. And if we had never gotten a Kara in season 7, I would still be like, yeah, Smallville even covered that. And I think that's kind of cool.
Another thing, I'm just sliding through here.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is when Lane Smith died. You've got his announcement on when he passed away on
My site broke that news.
May 31st, 04. This is one that has always floored me, though. You made, and I vividly remember this, you made not fake, but you made your own season 3 DVD art box set. The image you used is of the Covenant season finale poster, which is my favorite poster of the entire series. I don't know why. Like, I've got one hanging up over here, and it's just, I think it's one of the best posters they ever did. But and I consider that the season 3
I don't
DVD
even
image.
remember this.
Is there a way I could show this to you?
Yeah, you got to show me.
Here, I'll just text it to you. How about that?
Okay.
That's probably gonna be the easiest.
I mean, I feel like
and
I know
I felt so cheated when the real DVD box art came out. I was like, I don't want this. I want the one Craig did.
Yeah, it hasn't come through yet, but
no, I'm sending it. I'm having to send it to myself through my computer.
But I don't remember that, but I do remember one year on April Fool's saying that the DVD set was coming out even though it wasn't finished filming yet.
Yeah.
Because I would get emails every day. I think it was season 4. When is season 4 coming out on DVD? And they'd ask me in September. And so finally I'm just like, screw it. So that was one of my April Fools. And I had some fun DVD extras in there.
You sure did. Like, I mean, always, it was always good. Your April Fools were always good. Do you remember that at all?
No, but isn't this from Exile?
So the season 2, you used the season 2 border, but you changed the color from blue to green, which I also love because we never got a green season. But no, that's the Covenant finale poster. It kind of looks like the Exile poster. That one's he used to be the good guy.
Okay.
And this one is like Destiny is calling him home, I think is the tag.
Why did they never make a poster or a DVD cover with the good sex, bad Lex montage?
Because they couldn't afford to run it with Kryptonsite on there. Because again, you can never find that poster without Kryptonsite. That's my favorite part of that poster. I feel like every year somebody online on Reddit or somewhere finds the good sex bad Lex season 5 poster for
and some
Mortal.
People think that I made it.
Yeah,
but
they think
I did
you
not
made it. And we're like, no, like you had to have been around at this time period to fully understand the bonkers marketing material we would get for this series.
The one with the fall leaves was really bad too.
Fall leaves.
Yeah,
you're taxing me now. I don't remember that one.
There were just so many layers on it. And those things took forever for me to download because they were the hugest files.
Good old
I doubt I still have
DSL.
any of them.
I wish you did.
I did back up a few things on hard drives over the years, but I think they're PC hard drives and I use a Mac now.
Oh, there's ways around that. I can fix that.
Listen, I'll have to see.
I was just able, with the help of my good friend Ramey, who listeners will recognize that name probably, I was able to bring an iOmega zip drive back to life and get everything off of zip disks back this fall. So there are ways. You just have to work hard on it.
But that was probably the worst poster of all. And it's funny because I'll go on eBay now and I'll see people selling, like, Smallville postcards, and they have Kryptonsite logo on them. I'm
Yeah,
like, "Really?"
yeah, I get that too, and it cracks me up every time. But anyway, yeah, I just
Yeah.
always really liked your I that's my compliment to you. I always really liked your season 3 art, and I feel Warner Brothers Home Entertainment made the wrong choice in doing what they did,
Well,
but
the
that's
one
neither
that
here
we
nor there.
got had Lana and Lex on it too, though, right?
Yes, yes.
I mean, they're all selling
It's
points, so
fine, it's fine. It's,
it's fine.
whatever.
I mean, it's not like, doing a cover where Tom's wearing a shirt he never wore on the show or anything like that.
Or we stuck, somebody else's head on somebody else's body or ugh, those are bad
Blood.
ones too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Fun times.
So this one airing though, again, because so many things were in flux as a result on it, and I'm still trying to pull up spoilers, but I'm getting 317, 318. See, when I go back too far, I only get to 320, and then it won't give me 321 and
Ah.
322. Oh, the Wayback Machine. You giveth and you taketh away.
Yeah, the only way I might have what it was then is if my stuff was copied to a hard drive at exactly that time.
Hmm.
Because the Smallville spoilers.htm page is what I kept updating.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. When you come to the end of this, and again, like you just said, we were kind of in that mindset of, well, we're at least closer to the end than we have been at this
mhm.
point. Little did we know, but it's little we knew.
Yeah.
But had you told me, well, next year he's going to be Superman, I still wouldn't have. I still wouldn't have thought. I always thought we'd get through high school
I
and
would
then
have
maybe
never
another
guessed. Oh,
season.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I would have never guessed that we'd have Lois Lane at the beginning of season 4.
No, no. Do you remember when you found that out?
I think it was in one of the trades.
Really?
No, actually, there was a leak on some Stargate forum, which is Erica's ex-husband was on that show.
That's
And
right.
somebody said that Erica. So I think it landed on Rumorville before the trades, but it wasn't
Rumorville.
confirmed. And then Jensen was announced like the next day.
Sometimes I will just go back and pull up the site, like the
Uh,
old site, just for the sake of nostalgia. But I also love it as a tool for research because you were so dedicated to it and getting it out there for the people, and it was just such a big. If you were really, I'm saying this to the listeners, if you were really into this fandom, I mean, this was where you went. I mean, really was the companion piece to the series, and I always appreciative whenever we're around Tom and Michael, and they always point that out
yeah, which
how
I didn't even
how
know Tom visited the
important.
site back then.
There you go. He was. We could probably find his forum name.
I've tried.
Match the IPs, Craig. We gotta land him.
But, one thing I would if I have time that I'd love to
Mhm.
do, I mean, there are a lot of things I'd like to do for Kryptonsite this year. First
Yeah,
and foremost, restoring the forums
yeah.
because they got a little crashy and messy, and I was like, "I can't deal with this right now." But, there's a lot I'd like to do, but it might be fun to put some of those old articles
I
back
think
on the
that would be
site.
great. I know, Graham is working hard on our website, and there's a
Yeah.
lot to celebrate this year. And I'm trying to go back and find old stuff too, like these tapes, and just
Yeah.
commemorate and celebrate this year because it's only going to happen once with 25 years, and it's something that's so special to you and me. I think for April Fool's Day, I think you should make the site look like the old site for like even if it's just an image, even if it's just just a TIFF file or
Oh,
whatever
man.
that when you go to the site that's what pulls up with the
Mm,
stuff on it, and then when you click on it, it's the ultimate April Fool's reveal. But just
mm. We will be talking
if
about
I woke
this.
up on April 1st and pulled up the site and it looked like that, the sounds I would howl like a happy kid. It
We
would
will
be
talk about
hilarious.
that. Another thing that I am hoping to do with the forums being restored is I found a plugin that can make it look like an older version of the forum software.
Nice.
And if I can make it look like Krypton Site did, even in 2008 or something, I'll be happy, man. So that's a
I
goal.
even I even was able it always I'm always bewildered by what you can and can't pull up to with Wayback
Yeah.
Machine. I know that kind of repeating that in a different way than I said a minute ago, but, like, you can still get the Smallville yearbook website
Oh,
working.
wow.
Yeah, to a degree,
Okay.
but, it's just stuff that, like, it was such a part of my daily or weekly, at least, routine. I guess that's probably embarrassing to
And I
admit.
know there are people who saved the Smallville Ledger and Torch sites.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got, pretty good. Tim's got a pretty good backup of the maps and everything
Oh, yeah.
that still are, like, movable, not just images, but, like, you can actually click through and stuff. I don't know how he did that, but
My favorite place on the map is the Byrne Tavern.
you wrote
Kreg.
so many things and
No,
got to be so
I didn't name that. That was
well, you
Mark
didn't do
Warshaw.
that. You didn't do that, but I'm just thinking about, like, you writing as
Yeah.
Pete Ross's
I wrote the
byline.
classified ads and threw DC references all into them.
Just from having a site dedicated to the show, like it's
Yeah.
really in back when that wasn't a thing.
And then, you having a podcast about the show, and then look where we are now. I mean, we're on
We have
stage with those people, and they all know who we are, which is
gray in our
also
beard,
surreal.
and then after
You
it's
know.
over with, we need an app, as we've already said. It is very. I mean, just 25 years is surreal. Getting to be so intertwined with this show and this legacy is still very, even just as small parts of it. But I don't take it lightly because I look back so fondly on it and look forward to so many more um, aspects of it coming down the line.
I was talking to Tom, I think it was at the first Salute to Smallville, and, he pointed out that not every show has the kind of legacy Smallville did, that people are still celebrating it 20, 25 years later.
Yeah.
Like, I have a Lucifer hat on, and Tom was on Lucifer, but nobody's gonna be having a Lucifer con for the 25th anniversary,
No.
with no offense to anybody that loved that show, because it was a good show, but
Or any of the other shows that I remembered
Yeah.
when pulling up season 3's 2004 circa
Yeah.
Kryptonsite. Barnabas Undead for
They got one pilot.
Dark Shadows.
That pilot eventually did leak.
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah, I remember that.
It's not very good. I mean, Mark Verheiden wrote for it, and the script was good, but the execution was mid.
Oh,
Global
man.
Frequency was gonna happen.
Oh,
The
Global
Graysons.
Frequency. Oh my god, there's a blast from the past that I forgot about.
Remember The Graysons?
With the Graysons, yeah, because that was gonna be
Brian and Kelly.
Brian and Kelly, right?
And,
Yeah, I was about to say
I got
Todd
an
and Darren, but
email
that
one
wasn't right.
day from somebody telling me that The Graysons wasn't happening because Christopher Nolan quashed it, and I didn't run with it, even though the person that emailed it to me would know such things.
Mhm.
And then, like, 2 hours later, Variety had it. I'm like, "Damn it."
Well, and it wasn't, and I know this from just I did such a deep dive for the last few episodes of season 7 because I was just on Talkville, and I again, Kryptonsite was a huge part of that research because that between that December and
January, February.
that whole writer's strike period when then everybody started leaving, but
Yeah.
like the Graysons was on that was on, and I think it was the next day that Alan Miles left and Brian and Kelly, like it was like we're not doing this now
I
because
don't
this is
think The Graysons
happening.
was
And
until season 9.
something they were
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I don't remember either, but I just remember in that time period, I was on set the last week of filming season 7, supposedly, when they were doing pickups on Traveler and they were doing Veritas.
Mhm.
And I remember some of the dialogue changes in Veritas between what they filmed and what aired. Like, originally, Clarkson, like, "And you killed Jason Teague's father." But then at some point, they decided to bring in the holographic doctor to play Jason's dad, so they had to cut that line. And then, I think Ozziello reported on it. I mean, at some point, Genevieve Teague was supposed to be in the flashback,
Mhm.
but I guess
Yeah.
Jane Seymour was unavailable.
Well, Tim pulled up a lot of that stuff, and I was just looking through it too. That reminded me of the Sears. We were talking about the Phantom Zone, which I thought, I don't know if you thought that at the time. I definitely thought that was a thing that was happening. When he gets taken into the cave wall, we get the fake Kara is absorbed into the wall and never seen again, referenced once when the real Kara shows up. But,
See, I don't
Jor-El does say she served her purpose. So guess he killed her back, sent her back to die again.
when was she referenced? Because I don't remember that at all.
There's something about a girl showed up here one time pretending to use that name or something, and
Okay.
that's it. Like that's the extent of it. But it's
Why'd you
in.
say that name?
I think it's in 702 Kara. I can't remember.
That would make
but,
sense.
somebody, it's something along those lines. Or using that name, pretending to be my cousin, using that name, or something like that.
Okay.
Some good interview portions here from you with Al from this time period where you were asking, let's see, Tim's pulled all this up about the chances of Michael McKean returning as Perry White in season 4, Pete returning in season 4. Do you remember the 2 episodes Pete was supposed to return for? I remember
Jinx
this.
and Spell.
Bound, I think. Bound and Spirit is what you have in here.
Wait, Spirit is what I meant. Jinx
Yeah.
and Spirit. Because Al
Or
told me about
Jinx. Yeah, Jinx. Yeah, that's what it would
because
have been.
Jinx originally the plot was that Clark
He
was
was
gonna
on
be
the
playing a
opposing
football.
team, right?
Exactly, yes.
That's right. And he didn't wanna he was afraid he was gonna hurt him.
And then plus it was kind of fun that Pete knew. So he was like,
Right.
"You're cheating, dude." You know, and then Spirit, I still remember being at the TCA press tour party and I talked to Al about that. And see, I miss the days when producers were allowed to tell us stuff on the record
Oh, yeah.
at press
Yeah.
events. And it wasn't
Everything
like,
is so
well,
secretive now.
it's secretive and certain things are just promised to the big outlets. Of course, now I guess it's just the influencers, but
Right. Well, yeah, more often than not. That's
Yeah.
journalism. What's that? That's not a
Yeah,
thing anymore.
exactly.
You
CBS
asked
News knows all
about
about it.
you asked if this must have been Comic Con or something leading up
Yeah.
to because this is ahead of when Run aired, so this was early into season
Oh.
4. Or this was between obviously season 3 and season 4. You asked if there was any chance for a spinoff or for him to return, and Al says that's entirely up to the network, which was, a great go-to answer that he and Miles always like to use. So this is one about coming off of season 3, though, as we're at the end here looking into season 4. Any plans for DC Comics characters beyond Mxyzptlk to come back? This is you asking Al. Al says we're going to see Perry White later on in the season. Once Michael's schedule clears up, he's doing a play in New York. Again, these are always the things we have to get permission from 15 different divisions of this company to introduce these characters. So we're always open to it. There may be a couple more down the line. We'd love to see Jimmy Olsen as well.
Oh, we eventually got him.
I feel like I remember Perry being something that got talked about a lot and then just didn't end up happening. Do you have any memories of that?
I don't. The one Rumorville thing that I remember for years, and I think you might have been the one that broke it, was that Kevin Sorbo was going to be on Smallville.
Because I
What was
talked
the
to
deal
him.
there?
He was supposed to be Zor-El in
wow.
season 7, and yes, he told me that he was supposed to be playing the character, and that never. I don't know why that didn't end up happening. I'm not
Mystery
sure.
solved on this episode of the House of L podcast.
Yep, way back, the Wayback Machine. So that would have been summer of 07.
Wow.
Leading up to that.
Science.
Obviously, Michael doesn't return until season 9, so that took a long time to happen. But when he does return, he and what would have been great in season 4 is obviously him and Lois getting to meet the first time. That goes way far in the future.
He walks into the door and goes, "Hello."
Yeah.
Now the people even older than us are the only ones who'll get that one.
Nobody gets a Laverne and Shirley reference in this day.
You did.
Well, yeah, but I'm me,
Yeah, true.
Let's see. Kryptonsite says, can you tease anything else that we might see on the show this year? And Al says, I think you will see at some point a very different Lionel Luthor coming out of prison. You will see Lex get darker. You will see what the tattoo on Lana's back means. Spoiler alert, we haven't gotten to Crusade yet. And how she does tie into the greater mythology. That's up to interpretation, I guess. You will see Clark really struggling dealing with Lana with another guy. You will see Lex struggling, see Alana with another guy. That's another dynamic that was sort of hinted that you'll start to see as the season progresses. So yes, they were laying the creepy 6-7-year-old groundwork there for their wedding well in advance. Virgil Swan was originally going to be in Crusade and Gone. This is something I think you just shared for the first time on the internet last year. Draft of Gone that has Virgil Swan's lines in it.
Yeah. I have it around here somewhere. I mean, that was one of my favorite kind of like deleted scenes that showed up in a script. Beyond the Seer, of course. No, I'm just
Beyond
kidding.
the Seer, which I want to talk about here in a minute. So if somebody has a clue what we're talking about.
Yeah. Another article I posted at one point was the extra dialogue from the Justice League episode where they're coming up with names for their team. And Bart's like, I want Doom Patrol. And Cyborg's like, I like the Titans. And then Oliver's like, I think we should have something with the word justice in it.
I remember that.
But what's also weird is you can tell that was shot because they moved their places in the barn in that scene.
So that was filmed.
Yeah.
But is not included on the DVD.
No.
Okay.
Those
are always
like
astound me.
Yeah. I'm skipping ahead again, but it's kinda like how when I interviewed Allison during season 6 for the season 4 book, I'm like, "When did Lois and Lana find out that Chloe was still alive?"
Yeah,
And then the DVD comes out because it used to take 2 years for them to come out,
sure.
and here's that deleted scene of the 3 of them at the end
Uh-huh.
of Gone.
So let's talk a little bit about Swan because he does get mentioned in this episode a good bit on at least a couple occasions when Clark is talking to Kara and even Jonathan says, I have no idea what that man's, drive or motivations are, inclinations, talking about whether or not this is Lindsay's or Kara at this point, her appearance has anything to do with Swan, but
Or the FBI.
or the FBI. It's one of the things I most, I think, lament about the show that I know we lost out on is, and it's a selfish thing because obviously, a great man passed away, but I always just wonder what if the show would have been like had his involvement been more so than it was in season 2 and season 3, just one-offs. Because there's ways you can, and obviously we see that there's references in season 4 to, I was just emailing with Dr. Swan the other day, and yeah, so before Virgil Swan passes on the show as well. Um, so I feel like there's always ways to make him a part of the series without making him
For
a part of the
sure.
series. That's one thing I love about season 11 that Brian Q. Miller did was that Star Labs was named Swan Technology and Research Laboratories and had a statue of him out front like that. And I remember him being like giving himself a high five when he came up with that. I was like, I
That
would
was a
too.
great
That's
idea.
that's a great idea. That's so fantastic.
Well, I remember after Legacy aired, sorry, my voice is still funny from choking.
You're good.
But after Legacy aired, a lot of people wondered if there was some kind of connection between Swan and the Jor-El AI.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that, of course, was unable to be followed up on. But when you
Do
think
you,
about it, like the burning fields and stuff, which got Swan's attention, it still felt like it's something Swan could have done for
sure.
Jor-El.
Do you think that if Reeve had been well enough to continue and make multiple appearances that instead of, I know this is getting into season 5 territory, do you think he would have become the emissary instead of Lionel?
I don't think so, because Lionel needed something to do.
It worked out so well, yes,
Yeah.
that's what, ultimately, not to use a Star Wars reference, it brings him to the light, brings him to the light side of the Force, and it makes him realize the error of his ways. Ultimately, I just watched Transference the other day just for the heck of it
Man,
because it's one of
great
my favorite
episode.
episodes, and that shot when he's all jaundiced after he and Clark switch bodies back, and he's all jaundiced, and then he heals because he's been possessed by Clark, however that works. But it's and he's weeping. It's from the tear gas, but that Clark coming in from the gas and his outline, and then super speeding away as Lionel's in tears. And I'm like that sets up that moment to me and Hidden so well when he is pretending to be Brando almost when
We both start doing
he's doing
this
the high he's doing the high
and saying
hands on the
Krypton.
vest, Krypton, the great Krypton. But yes, not only did we get reference, did people think that there was going to be a tie-in after 317 Legacy, and this is just kind of now we're talking about the stuff that happened season 3, which is a great conversation for you and I to have, but because I know this is one of your favorite seasons as well. But not only do we get a scene with Tom and or Clark and Swan in Legacy, but we also get a scene with Lionel and Swan, which gives us some deeper background into them that you're like, okay, these two have some sort of history. What is it? And that brings me to
I know where you're going.
the spoilers page between season 3 and season
Oh,
4 because
okay.
well, where did you think I was going?
Veritas.
Well, that's where I'm going to eventually.
Okay. Yeah,
But
okay.
as a stopover, I got really obsessed with this idea from basically 2 sentences that you wrote on Kryptonsite. Again, I'm showing how stupid I am. Which was a planned story arc teased prior to season 4 starting, revolving around the Seer, which had his group of acolytes, and we're all like in red hooded robes and like lit torches, and they would like meet in caves or in the basement or anything. But it was this secret society that was basically heralding the arrival of Kal-El, and how it was that it was going to be this long standing, generational thing of almost like Masons or something like that, of just
Right.
stuff that was handed down from generation to generation, and that Now and I think you and I talked about this at the time. This is before we really knew that it was going to involve family members, but we were talking about, especially when we got to Veritas, we were like, maybe the Waynes are involved, if the Queens are involved, and maybe that's how you don't bring Bruce in, but you're able to bring in that kind of thing. But
Martha.
yeah, yeah. Why did you say that name? But they referred to him as the One, is how they would refer to Kal-El. That was something that was confirmed on Kryptonite at the time. Do you remember where that came from? Did that come from Al? Was that?
No, that was from
I know
Casting
that's
Sides.
taxing. That was from Sides.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So we got that far into it before it was scrapped.
I don't think it's in the script that I have, but it was in the Casting Sides.
Interesting.
Because the script I have is like the final version.
Yeah. So you've got a working draft of Gone, but a final version, a shooting version of Crusade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. So that came close to happening. So I wonder if Reeves' health. See, to me, that's more of a backup plan kind of thing. But it's almost like scrapped it because of Reeves' health declining. And I wonder if that was the case or not. I wonder if there's any way that Al and Miles remember any of that.
Well, I mean, it's the anniversary year, and we're going to be at a convention where we can ask such things if they're there.
Ultimately, though, this gets tabled and comes back as Veritas.
Right.
It's 3 seasons later.
So I'm one of those people that does not hate the Veritas storyline.
No, I don't either. I think, as retcons go, it was handled as well as it could possibly be handled. Now, there's a lot of stuff with retconned on the show that I don't agree with, Davis Bloom.
Yeah.
But that's not Davis, but, that Doomsday hitched a ride.
Yeah.
I still love I think Steve and I came up with this, that Brainiac changed things in Apocalypse, and it wasn't an original,
that
to the pilot.
That can be what our brain thinks.
That's my headcanon.
My headcanon before we had the reveals was that Davis came with the second meteor shower.
Right? That hitched a ride with Brainiac. Doesn't that make with Namek and Aether?
Sense.
I mean, you've got literally disciples of Zod. You would think a child of Zod would be.
And then it would be of a mirror to Jor-El sending Kal-El.
So, and I think also when we get to Veritas and you were talking about Genevieve a minute ago, but obviously Robert Teague being like a monk in Quest and actually being hooded and everything. To me, that all just played back into
Edward Teague,
excuse me, not Robert.
Queen.
Robert Queen, Edward Teague. Yeah, that's right. But Alan Turing told you, I think, in the season 4 companion, or you didn't? Did you do season 4?
Or did you season 4? Yeah,
you did season 4
through 7.
4 through 7. I was trying to. Somebody else did 1 through 3. But
I wrote the trivia for 1 through 3. Apparently,
that it was going to be kind of a Da Vinci Code kind of thing.
Okay.
Which is kind of what it became anyway without the seer, because then it turned into the hunt for the crystals and the witches and all of that. Which I do at the time, I was like, okay, I'm here for the ride. But now I'm like, yeah, I love season 4. There's little that can make me not like season 4.
Well, season 4 has some of the best episodes of the series. I mean,
it really does.
Crusade, Transference, Commencement.
Mm-hmm.
They're all great episodes. But I think at the time it did.
What?
No. But at the time, I do think there was a little bit of blowback because we didn't know where the story was going. Like, what's going on with Lana? We don't get it. And then after it had aired, rewatching it, it's a lot better experience.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it fits very well into it's kind of, even with Erica coming in as Lois, it's kind of the goodbye season for that kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
Because you only can get so far into this and see him playing, I mean, obviously playing a 15-year-old in the pilot, but once he's, looking like he's even older by the end of season 4, start of season 5, you've really got to get into some of this Superman mythos stuff because, again, the time clock is up and we don't know how much is left. It's kind of ambiguous. So if we're going to be ending with a season 5 or season 6, we're going to go hog wild with it, we've kind of got to give him the Fortress of Solitude and start this relationship. This rocky relationship with Jor-El's got to come to a head somehow.
And at this point, if somebody asked me, Craig, how do you think the series is going to end? I would have thought it would have been with the formation of the Fortress. And that would be it.
Sure. What a perfect place for it to, and I'm not saying it should have, but I'm just saying, in retrospect, if you're, going off of, if you're going to give us the Richard Donner Fortress and you're going to
Right.
give us the John Williams music, and we know that in Superman the movie he spends 13 years in the Fortress of Solitude, it's kind of the perfect end point if you don't want to show the cape and you don't want to, if you want to keep the no
Right.
flights, no tights, it's sort of the quintessential ending, the end of one thing, the start of another.
Well, also think about, the pilot episode. Like Jonathan asks Clark if he's all right when he finds out about his, birthright. And Clark goes, ask me again in about 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
So I think that made us all think, oh, it's a 5-year show. And then the CW happened.
And then the CW happens. It's always so funny to me that the CW happens right halfway through the show, worked so hard to kill the show.
Yeah.
And it still runs its full life expectancy and then another half.
Yeah.
It doubles it basically.
Yeah,
Or
it's
not
like
doubles it, but it replicates it and moves on.
Season 9, they put it on like Fridays to die with no
Friday
lead
night
out.
death slot, baby.
Yeah. I don't even think Supernatural was on Fridays that season 9. 10, I think it was.
Yeah, they both went to Friday on season 10. This stuff is so much fun for me to pour back into then because I did just poured over it so much back in the day that, it scratches that itch in my brain when I get to go back through it, and who better to go back through it with than you, because we were so intertwined at that time period.
Was this the same year that we ended up meeting in person for the first time at the John Glover
We
Walk?
met in 2006.
Okay.
So this is the 20th year of us first meeting.
Oh,
We were
that's
talking before that,
crazy.
but the first time we ever met in person
I was thinner and you had hair.
Yeah, right? And less gray and the beard.
Yeah, both of us.
I am so excited for this year. I know you're working on things. We're working on things on this side. I'm hoping you and I get to collaborate even more than we already do, which I'm so thankful that we do get to, and we've stayed friends and stayed close on this and get to work together on projects that revolve around the show, but also just getting to host these conventions for creation is there's no words for it on how meaningful it is to me to get to stand up there with you and represent this show with these people.
I agree, and I feel like when we've gone, it's almost been like a time warp.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Like, the celebration of everything Smallville hopefully reminds me of when Kryptonsite was big in the, mid-2000s.
That's exactly what it reminds me of. 'Cause when I stand up there and we list our sites and there's the people clap and you hear people start murmuring, like, I remember Krypton, that kind of thing, and I love that, man. I know it's been 25 years, but it feels like yesterday in so many ways for me. Like I read, when I read these dates at the beginning of when we do an episode covering Smallville, and I'm like, aired May 19th, 2004, 22 years ago. And I'm like, geez, that feels so long. But also, I remember where I was sitting when this episode aired. I remember, talking to Tucker right after this episode aired. I remember probably emailing you right after this episode aired, or talking on AOL Instant Messenger like we used to do.
Maybe you were one of the people that texted me after it was over.
I could have been. I don't know. I probably paid in 2004, I probably paid 25 cents for a text message to go, hey, Craig, what just happened? It's crazy to think about.
Man, but yeah,
kids, you used to have to pay per text message. That's what that's about. In case
I'm old enough to remember when you had to pay for an email.
Oh, yeah. I remember when if you wanted to talk to somebody, we had to wait till after 9 to call them because it was free.
Yep.
Anyway.
Crazy times. But,
crazy.
Now, you had mentioned briefly that the kind of incestual angle was a little surprising to see.
I had forgotten, going back to the actual episode we're talking about, when she when Kara / Lindsley is telling Clark that Lana loves you, but it'll never be like the love you and I will share, and I was like, whoa, I totally forgot that.
It's a family love.
It's seriously, and he doesn't even like balk at the idea at all. He's just like, all right. Well.
No, because Clark saw the way that she was framed in every shot and was like,
she's a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. She was then and she is now. I loved getting to meet her at the convention as well.
And she's so sweet.
Adrian. She is. I love Brian Q. Miller always says, he's like, you got a genre pilot? Adrian Pileggi. Can't do wrong. Cast her in it. You want her as Wonder Woman? Fine. You want her as a Marvel character? Fine.
She probably has been in the most failed pilots for superhero
honestly
projects.
Yeah,
because she had her Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spinoff,
and she's
Wonder
such
Woman,
a great actor.
Aquaman.
Yeah,
I mean, she's a great player. I mean, also, she ended up being in TV history as Sam Winchester's girlfriend in the Supernatural
That's
pilot.
right. How many times in that previously on do you see her
And
burning
she
up
got
on
money
the
for every one of those
every
times.
one of them? Every one of them.
So good for her.
Craig, I think we've said it plenty of times in the episode, but tell our listeners where they can find you.
You can find me at kryptonsite.com. Like I said, we're doing a lot for the anniversary, hopefully. And I'll be talking to you more about that, Derek, at some point,
Yes.
offline. But also, I've got K-Site TV. Kryptonsite Official is the name of the Instagram handle for the site because at some point somebody swiped Kryptonsite, and even though it's gone now, they won't let me take it. So
The perils of the internet in the year of 2026. Crazy to think
kind of
about.
weird saying that, isn't it?
It is. And I just saw your advanced review for Starfleet Academy, which
It's
is
super good.
coming out soon. Cool.
I mean, I
I'm looking
liked
forward
it,
to that.
but I sometimes have the TV taste of a teenage girl. I mean, I'm talking
Well, it
about
does look a
Smallville.
little CW-ish, so it's kind of up your
Yeah.
alley
But
as
I
Star Trek
like that
goes.
the characters are well set up,
Well,
the
that's
younger
good.
characters especially, and that you don't need to know Star Trek to get it,
True.
which
That's
is a
true.
good thing. I mean, it's kinda like Smallville. You didn't need to know everything about Superman lore to get
Right.
into it, but if you knew stuff, it was kind of a bonus. Because one thing we didn't really cover, and I'll be very quick about it, but I remember at the time, there were still people that thought Lex would turn out to be a good guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there's still people
Yeah.
watching the show today that are like, "No, Lana and Clark or Klana's in game," and I'm just like,
Somebody's been on Reddit recently.
you sweet, sweet summer child." It's just like that's not Tim sends me stuff, and I'm like, I can't read that.
Uh,
I couldn't read that stuff 20 years ago. You think I can read it now? Like I'm just like you. I just want to pat you on the head.
well,
You're
it's
like, it's not
interesting
going to
because
happen.
at the conventions, everybody is so nice about everything.
Yes.
Like, the fan groups get along, but sometimes you'll still get those stragglers on Reddit or somewhere like that where they're like, "The ratings went down in the seasons after Kristen left," and it's like, the ratings were down for everything,
Everything that
you
was.
know?
I mean, it's just. I mean, we've got one of the greatest love stories ever told since 1938. You're not gonna upend that for high
Exactly.
school affection, but whatever.
And,
That's
I
neither
mean,
here nor
Lana
there.
was special to Clark, and that never
Absolutely.
goes away.
There's no denying that, and we love Kristen.
Yeah.
Adore Kristen, and I love Lana. I just, this, and Alan Miles admit to that. It's just hard to sometimes find something for the character to do to make her integral to the story, and that's ultimately what happens here with season 4. Is they try to find a way to put her in the forefront of it all. And looking back at a time when this series was going to change so much anyway, I don't know that it would have. Again, nothing against Kristen, benefited from maybe Kristen being gone for a season and then pulling a Coy and Vance and then coming back. There's a reference. Coming back again for season 5 or season 4. No, season 5, excuse me. And
Yeah.
just staying in Paris for a year and then coming back to a vastly different show with Lois and seeing how that would have affected things.
But remember, they were barely allowed to use Lois at that time, too.
Barely. You had Superman Returns coming out. Couldn't Clois her up at all. Had to be, different hair color.
Yeah.
His involvement came with a lot of stipulations that didn't ease up for some time. Even when,
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to think about too. How many times drink every time Derek says it's crazy to think about. It's interesting too because we love Erica's Lois so much. 4th appearance on the show was Spell, maybe
3rd, I think.
It's 3rd. It's
Oh, no,
You
no,
really-
you're 5th because she's in the first 4, right?
she's in Facade and Devoted.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, so
Spell and then not again until like Crypto
Spell.
or something.
So yeah, it's just like you really threw her into things. You can't have Clark and Lois get together, but we can make Lois Lane a witch from the 1700s. Whatever.
I'm just disappointed now that they didn't call them the Swanderson sisters. Do you get the reference?
I get the reference, but that's terrible.
Because that's
Even for
how
your
the
puns.
artists of Superman comics in the 60s
Mm-hmm.
would sign the covers. Swandersons,
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Swan and
Swanderson.
Murphy Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep,
why
I
not
get
make
it.
them the Swanderson?
And then the Sanderson sisters from,
Yeah.
and then also
I bet you Brian Q. Miller would have written that.
he would have gotten it.
Yeah.
As always, you can find us wherever you do your social media at Super House of L on everything from TikTok to Threads to Instagram to Blue Sky. And Please follow us wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. It's really easy to do. Best way to find us and listen. And you can also leave us a rating and review if you're so inclined while you're there. And I hope that you do, because we would love it if you would. And you can always email us, mail@superhouseofl.com. And please check out our new website. I'm banging a drum on it because I love it so much. It's my favorite website we've had in 20 years, of almost 21 years now of doing this show. Check out superhouseofl.com. Craig, you're going to be on the show a lot this year.
I'm good with that.
So make arrangements. And
I'm good. Yeah.
We'll be seeing each other soon. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Later.
See you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.